Hey guys, how's it going? Mr. Dorado here again with another video for you guys. This time we're actually going to go ahead and look at Chapter 3. Okay, now Chapter 3 is going to deal with linear functions yet again. However, we're actually going to talk a little bit more about how we can write equations of these linear functions and these linear graphs if we're given certain restrictions. So maybe we're just given a slope and a y-intercept. So with that information, how do we write an equation? Maybe we're just given 2 points. How do we write an equation from that? Similarly, we may even be given a table of values or maybe an actual graph, and from there we have to deduce how we can write a equation for it. Okay. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So let's go ahead and read our objectives today. Today we are trying to write the equation of a line given its slope and y-intercept, and also write the equation of a line by looking at its graph. Okay, so as we go ahead and get started on that, let's make sure we remember a little bit of our key terms and key vocabulary. All right, so we've said before in the past that our slope intercept form, okay, so let me go ahead and highlight that real quick. So our slope intercept form, okay, tells us already a lot of information. It gives us an M, okay, and it gives us a B. Now, those two things right there, we have to be able to identify them by their actual wording, okay, by their actual description, okay, and that is a horrible arrow. So let's try that once more. There we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and write down a few of these key terms. So first one that we have here is M. Well, if you guys remember correctly, our M here is our slope, and our B is our y-intercept. Okay, so hence the word, or I'm sorry, hence the name of that form, which is slope-intercept form. All right, so keeping those two things in mind, let's go ahead and take a look at example number 1. So it says, write a slope-intercept equation of a line that has slope of -4 and y-intercept of 5. So off here to the side, I'm just going to go ahead and write that information that we're given. They're telling us that our slope is -4, and our y-intercept, which is our b, is 5. So let's go ahead and substitute that into our y equals mx plus b. So y equals m, but now we know that m is a -4, x plus our b, which in this case is a 5. So that's all I'm doing here, guys. So let me go ahead and write that in the bottom down here. So what did I do? All I did was take my m, which was my -4, and substituted it in there. And I took my b and did the same thing. All I did was substitute. The y and the x stayed exactly the same. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at problem number 2 and 3. So it says, write the slope-intercept equation of a line that has a slope of 1/2 and a y-intercept of 8. So yet again, just to make sure I have all my information here, I'm going to write it off to the side. I have my m is 1/2, my b is 8. So if I substitute that into my slope-intercept form, I get y equals 1/2 x plus 8. Simple enough, right? Just to make sure that it is just how we want it, let's go ahead and do one more and see if you guys actually understand this. And then I'm going to have you guys try some on your own. So it says, write a slope-intercept equation of a line that has a slope of 11, okay, and a y-intercept of -2/3. Now, before we actually answer this question, I want you guys to notice something. For slopes in the past, we sometimes have had fractions, and usually for our y-intercepts we have whole numbers. Now that might not always be the case, so don't let this confuse you guys. Here they're telling us that the slope is 11, so that is my m, and my y-intercept is -2/3. So a lot of you guys might have thought, oh, the m is the negative 2/3. Well, not quite. Not necessarily, okay? Just because you saw a fraction doesn't mean it is the slope, okay? But just to make that clear, our m is 11 and our b is negative 2/3. So if I substitute that into my equation, y equals mx plus b, I get y equals m is 11, x plus b, which is a negative 2/3. All right. So why don't you guys go ahead and take a second right now to go ahead and try 4 and 5. Go ahead and pause the video. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at number 4 and 5. Hopefully you guys already have your answer for that. So again, if you have a highlighter or just something to underline with, or if you don't, that's totally fine, but I like to show that so that you guys can get a better understanding of this. So I'm given that I want to write a slope-intercept equation of the line that has a slope of -1 and a y-intercept of 4. So this -1 is my slope, so it's my m. This 4 is my b, it's my y-intercept. So I write y equals -1 x plus 4. Simple as that. Nothing too crazy. All right, number 5, same thing. Write a slope-intercept equation of the line that has a slope of 2 and a y-intercept of 6. So once again, this is my m, this is my b. So y equals mx plus b, so y equals 2x plus 6. All right, so hopefully you guys got similar answers. Always double check your work, and like I've said before in the past, always double check my work. Maybe somehow, somewhere on here, I messed up, and you guys can spot an error. So if you spot an error, that's totally fine. Like I said, we're only humans. Everybody makes mistakes, okay? Let's just make sure we can identify and correct those mistakes. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at 6 and 7. Now, this is a little different. Now we're actually going to go ahead and write the equation of a line, but instead of being given already our information like a slope and a y-intercept, we have to figure it out from the graph, okay? Well, the nice thing about these graphs is that, and if you can look at the prompts down here, they're asking us to identify the slope and y-intercept first before we actually get our equation, and I think that's a really good idea. And like I was saying, the nice thing about these graphs is that our y-intercept is very distinct, okay, and it's directly on a perfect perfect number coordinate, okay, instead of like fractions or decimals. It's actually right on a particular set of digits, particular whole number. Okay, so let's go ahead and figure this out. So remember what we've talked about before in the previous chapter. It's always kind of nice to identify your y-intercept first, and then from there, identify your slope or use your slope to graph. Now we're going to do the opposite, okay? I'm going to use my y-intercept, okay? So let's go ahead and figure out what this is. So this point right here was what? That is 0, comma, -2. And from there, I can identify my slope because I have other points that will help me do that. Remember, to find your slope, it's your, and I'm going to go ahead and write it off here to the side, rise or fall. It might be a fall. Whoops. Rise or fall over your run. Okay? So in this one, like I said, rule of thumb is always start from the point, always start from the point furthest to the left and then go to the next point that's on the right side. So I'm going to go ahead and start at that point right there, which is actually our y-intercept, is the point furthest to the left. To get to my next point, I have to go, let's see, rise or fall first, and actually in this case I have to rise 1, 2, and then I run just 1. So my slope is 2 over 1 or just 2. All right, so we have our slope, our y-intercept. Well, isn't that our m and our b? All right, so again, M and B. We can now write our equation of this line. So we have y equals mx plus b, and in this case it's a -2. All right, so we have officially written our first equation given a graph. So let's go ahead and do the same thing for the number 7 actually. So once again, it's always a good idea to go ahead and identify your y-intercept, which is right there. I went ahead and highlighted it. So let's go ahead and write down the coordinates for our y-intercept, which are in this case 0, comma, +4. Okay. Now again, we have to identify our slope from there. So if I'm starting there at my y-intercept, which is kind of nice because that's the point furthest to the left, at least from the points that are perfectly drawn on the graph. And then to get to this point over here on the right, what do I have to do? Rise or fall first? Well, in this case, I have to, whoops, sorry about that. I actually have to go down. So I'm falling 2, so I'm going to put a -2, and I'm running to the right 3. So that means my slope here is -2 over 3, and I have my y-intercept. So once again, I have my m, I have my b. That's not quite clear yet. Again, that's my m, this is my b. I now have the information I need to write my equation. So I get y equals -2/3 x plus 4. And again, if you guys think back to before, notice our slopes. On number, let's see, that was number 6. Yes, on number 6, our slope was positive, which means that it should be rising or going up as the graph increases to the right, which it does. As it's going to the right, it's going up. For number 7, however, it's a negative slope, so as it's going to the right, it's actually falling, it's dropping, it's going down. Okay, so just to make sure that you guys remember, all right? If I haven't already, guys, make sure that you guys ask me about this right here. So just a little side note for you guys. Mr. Slope Guy, I'm not sure if I've shown you guys that in one of these videos before. If not, I'll probably make another video describing this. Okay, but you have Mr. Slope Guy. And I'll explain, not in detail because I don't want to spend too much time on this, but if you guys notice, as I draw Mr. Slope Guy, a few things here. Okay, that's Mr. Slope Guy, and I know he doesn't look very happy, but he does help us identify our slopes, whether it's positive, negative, unidentified, or I'm sorry, I should say undefined, not unidentified. Sorry about that. Undefined or 0. Just to make it clear, notice how this eyebrow here is going from the left to the right and it's increasing, so it's a positive. Okay, now on this other eyebrow, notice how it's going from the left to the right, it's going down, hence the negative sign. Okay, right here, this vertical line, okay, that vertical, actually I should do this, I should invert those right here. Let me go ahead and redraw that part for you guys. This should be like that, and this should be like this. And I should have a purple. Okay, so on this vertical line here that you guys see going straight up and down, notice that tip of the nose, it's like a U. So vertical lines have an to find slope. And finally, right here on the edges of his mouth, you see two little zeros for this horizontal line. So those little zeros represent that that type of line, a horizontal line, has slope 0. So go ahead and just have that on the side for yourself as a little note if you're ever asked to identify whether a graph has positive, negative, undefined, or slope 0. Okay? Like I said, I'll try to make a video that explains that a little further if you guys need further explanation. But I know that used to help me a lot when I was trying to remember what direction these lines were and what slope they were as well. All right. So what I want you guys to do is go ahead and try number 8 and 9. So go ahead and pause the video. Go ahead and identify your y-intercept, your slope, and then with that, find your equation. So go ahead and pause the video and try those out. All right, guys, let's go ahead and take a look at these two problems. So y-intercept, let's go ahead and identify right away. It is, and let me actually use a different color. It's right there. Remember, y-intercepts intersect the y-axis, okay? So on that y-axis, that big, bold vertical axis, okay, and my actual graph, my actual line, they're both intersecting right here. So that is my y-intercept. That's how you're able to identify it. So what are the coordinates at that point? They are 0, 1. Let's find our slope. So from that point, which is the point furthest to the left, to this point, which is on the right, let's go ahead and count. So do I have to go up or down? Well, I actually have to go up. So 1, 2. Okay, so I go up 2 and to the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So my rise over my run was 2 over 4. That actually reduces to just 1/2. Okay, now let's go ahead and write our equation. We have everything we need. We have our m, right? We have our b. So let's go ahead and write our equation. We have y equals m, which is 1/2, x plus b, which in this case is a 1. So hopefully you guys had a similar answer. All right. Now let's go ahead and identify our y-intercept and slope for the next one. So again, y-intercept, the one that's going through the y-axis, is right there, which in this case is 0, -1. All right, and now we're trying to identify our slope by going from that point to the next point over on the right, which is right here. So rise over run, so we rise 1, 2, 3, okay, and we run just 1. So 3 over 1, which is just 3. Now, what I want to do real quick is I want to kind of elaborate a little more and explain to you guys that it doesn't matter which 2 points you would have chosen, you would have still gotten a slope of 3. So what I want to do for a second is actually erase this, okay? And erase that one. Let's say I wanted to go from that y-intercept to this one up here, okay? Well, let's go ahead and calculate our slope once again. If these 2 points are on the same line, they have to have the same slope. Like as from one point to another, they have to have the same slope. So let's go ahead and see if that's true. I'm going to use a different color here. Let's go rise over run. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 over, and we run 2. 1, 2. Well, 6 over 2 reduces to 3. And look at that. It's the exact same slope. Okay, I just want to add that in there, guys, because a lot of people might think, oh, well, do you only have to use the point that's right next to that other point, or can you use any 2 points? And the truth is, you can use any 2 points. Okay, it's just maybe more convenient to use the one next to the point furthest on the left because you don't have to count out as much. Okay, so just wanted to add that in there. So again, we have our m, which was 3. We have our b, which is -1. So my equation here is y equals 3x minus 1. All right, so hopefully you guys had a similar answer. And now we can go ahead and look at 10 through 13. Okay, actually 10 through 15. I don't know why I have 13 there, but let's go ahead and see what's being asked of us. So they're asking, write the equation of the line described and write a slope-intercept equation of the line that has a slope of 7. So let's go ahead and highlight a few things. A slope of 7. Oh, wait, that's way too dark. Let's do some other color. There we go. Much better. Slope of 7 and y-intercept of -6/5. Okay, well, sounds good to me. What am I given? My slope of 7, my y-intercept of -6/5. So I write y equals m, which is 7x minus my b, which is -6/5. All right, so that was pretty painless. All right, so again, it's just a matter of identifying what information you're given. Keep going with number 11. Write a slope-intercept equation. So again, a y equals mx plus b. So write yourself a reminder there. As soon as it says write a slope-intercept equation, you know you want something of this form. Okay? So a slope-intercept equation of a line that has a slope of 5/2 and a y-intercept of 4. So once again, my m is 5/2. My b is 4. Simple enough. So we have y equals 5/2 x plus 4. All right, cool. Number 12, write a slope-intercept equation of a line that has, so once again, slope-intercept, so it's y equals mx plus b, that has a y-intercept